Hello, I'm Margot Politis. Welcome to Study English IELTS preparation. The focus of today's lesson is the IELTS listening test. In the IELTS listening test, you will be tested on your ability to understand spoken English in a variety of contexts. So it's important to develop a range of skills that will help you with your listening. A good way to prepare for the test is to develop your previewing and predicting skills. These strategies will help improve your listening comprehension. Let's imagine this graphic is a written part of a listening test, a fact sheet. You are always given 30 seconds to familiarise yourself with the questions before the listening section is played. This is when you'll need to use your previewing and predicting skills. They will help you learn as much as possible before you listen, so you know what you will be listening to and what you need to listen for. Let's start previewing and predicting. Look at the section again. Think about the following questions. What is the topic? Who is speaking? Where are they? Why are they talking? Okay, let's think about the first question you should ask. What is the topic? We know from the title of the fact sheet that this section will be about health and well-being. Next, 2 to 4 or university. Well done. Now let's move on. Now we're going to talk about listening for main ideas and supporting information. This is in position on. Hello and welcome to Study English IELTS preparation. I'm Margot Politis. In the listening module of the IELTS test, you can expect to be asked questions about numbers. So it's important to be familiar with how we talk about numbers. First, listen to the numbers in this clip about a wind farm in Tasmania.
Each tower that you can see can generate enough power for...
It probably say nearly 2 million tourists. But if he'd said million, Hello and welcome to Study English IELTS preparation. I'm Margot Politis. The family is a common topic in IELTS, especially in part 1 of the speaking test. Talking about such a familiar topic might seem simple, but doing it well requires thought and practice. Let's listen to someone talking about their family.
My mother is a teacher and my father is an architect. I've got 2 brothers and 1 sister, so that's all the immediate family.
She begins by identifying her mother and father, and then her brothers and sister. What did she call all of them together?
My mother is a teacher and my father is an architect. I've got 2 brothers and 1 sister, so that's all the immediate family.
The immediate family. Another term for this is nuclear family. That's the parents, mother and father, and the siblings, brothers and sisters. A male child is called the son of...
Yeah, I've got 2 sisters and a little brother.
The children of a family are... Hello. The topic of food and the customs around preparing food come up often in the Ielts speaking test. It is useful to look at this topic area and think about how to select language and organise a response if you're asked to talk about food, cooking, and diet. Let's begin by listening to someone talk about the various meals she has during the day.
I usually have breakfast every morning and lunch in the early afternoon. A sandwich usually or some instant noodles. But the main meal of the day for me is normally dinner.
Let's go over the language of meals. She mentioned breakfast, the morning meal, lunch, the meal we have in the middle of the day, and dinner, which is the evening meal. So, what other words are there? In the United States and Britain, another word for dinner is supper. In Australia, the word supper isn't used very often and usually refers to a light meal late at night. To afternoon tea, people have a breakfast during the day or night, are called snacks. Hello and welcome to Study English IELTS Preparation. I'm Margot Politis. Today we'll look at some aspects of discussing a topic, which is something you are expected to do in Part 3 of the IELTS speaking test. In Part 3 of the speaking test, you participate in a two-way discussion to test your ability to contrasting, identify...
Such as people using...
If we listen first... Today on Study English, we're going to give you some tips and strategies for answering Task 1 IELTS academic questions. We'll look at what's involved in planning an essay, and then we'll try planning answers to some practice questions. Task 1 of the IELTS academic module asks you to describe data. The keyword is describe. That means you don't need to comment on or interpret the data. Your task is only to describe the data. When you're writing a description, it's important to know what the context is and who your audience is. In Task 1, the audience is usually a university lecturer or a teacher, so we know that it should be formal. Let's review what we know, and the 2000 is the same information as the table.